Hey there, Joel here, and welcome to this online class. This is the part 2 video of the chapter Nutrition in Animals, and I hope you have watched the previous video because if you haven't, then it will be slightly off track for you to understand what's going on in this chapter. So I will link the video, the previous part 1, somewhere over here. Do check it out first and then come back to this video. Okay, so we concluded the previous video on something called as BOSS LRA, which means the buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. We are going to study in detail today about all these. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so the entire human digestive system, I've just tried to put it in a figure over here. There will be some titles which are new to you, but in the course of this video, you will definitely learn them. For example, oral cavity is a new word. I'll tell you that it is exactly the same of buccal cavity. So what is buccal cavity can also be called as oral cavity. Okay, mouth, everyone understands. Esophagus, stomach, pancreas is something that we haven't heard of. A liver, something new. Gallbladder, appendix, that's it. So these are the words which are new to you right now, but I'm sure by the end of this entire chapter, at least, ignore that sound. Okay, by the end of the entire chapter, you will be able to understand what these things are and what are the use of them. So your human digestive system, right, secretes digestive juices, and some of them are because of these salivary glands which create salivary juices. Then a liver creates some secretions, pancreas create some secretions. Why are these required? Is only because your entire digestive system, from the buccal cavity to the anus, the entire process. You remember in the previous video I was talking about eating potatoes, and then they take a while, digestion takes place, and then the entire food is converted. So for that to happen, all the BOSS LRA, all of them are nothing but, you can say kind of machines that will process it. But for those machines to work, you require some oiling. In a way, these digestive juices help in that digestion. So the entire digestion process, okay, will happen because of these, where are they? Because of these digestive juices which are secreted by these glands. Okay, next I would want you to take a time and read this, but in short, let me tell you a bit about it. So you know that when you were born, and then after a few months, small tiny little cute little teeth started growing up, okay, in your mouth. And after a while, once you start eating a lot of chocolates, you realize that some of them turn black and they started falling off, right? And then you don't have teeth over there. And then some people will say, "Are ege gal, tege gal dant." That's all jokes, but you need to understand that in your entire lifespan you get two sets of teeth. One are called as milk teeth, the other are your permanent teeth. So initially are your milk teeth, which will eventually fall off, and then the permanent teeth will start growing up, okay, or they'll start appearing. Now the entire teeth set, which you can see over here, okay, requires, or a kind of, let me give you a simple example. When your mom is in the kitchen and she's trying to do some work, you know that she has different instruments to do a particular task, right? If it is to cut, then she'll have a knife, okay, or a scissor, okay. If it is something to scrape, then she has a scraper, then she has a grater. So there are different kind of instruments kujna to usto to do a particular work, right? So same way your teeth set is like that. So let us understand. Okay, now before that, taking food inside the body is called as ingestion. So I take one laddu, okay, and I take it in my mouth, okay. This process will be called as ingestion. Now, after ingestion has taken place, you don't directly swallow that entire laddu, right? You bite it. So for that, you make use of your teeth. Now, how many kind of teeth you have? You have 4 types of them. Okay, they're called as incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Okay, now each one of these, just like your kitchen instruments, have a particular purpose. You can think for yourself, whenever you have a chips packet which you need to open, which part of your teeth you use to open it? You will use the front one, right? So that is because those are incisors. They are nothing but, the word sizes, incisors, you can remember it as scissors. They're used to cut something, okay. Canines are the side ones which help you to tear something, pierce into. Like if you want to break a shell, a kind of a dry fruit, which you have to break the shell of it, then probably you use the side of it. You don't use these, right? You use the side. So those are nothing but canines. If you observe a dog, they have these sharp teeth at the side. Those are nothing but canines. Since we directly, go and attack an animal, we don't do that, right? That's the reason these teeth are, not pointed of us. They are decent, but they're not pointed. So if you notice, all the carnivorous animals, they will have sharp teeth over here. Okay, the canines. Then you have premolars, and then you have molars. These are nothing but, a kind of grinders, which will help you to grind whatever you're eating. So again, the example of the potato, first you will bite them, okay, cut them, and then pierce them if you want to, and then the premolars and molars are just going to grind them smaller and smaller. So this entire process happens where? In the buccal cavity. I hope this thing is understood till here. Okay, now let's understand a little bit about tooth decay. You must have heard, अरे chocolates or हायना का दांत पेड़ेर जातले, पेड़ेर जातले. You have heard this enough of times, and finally you're like, just fed up of listening to it. But I'm not going to tell you not to eat. It is for you to decide whether you want to or you should not. So the entire process, starts like this. You, okay, eat a chocolate and you bite and eat, or you chew it, whatever. Now, there are a number of bacteria in your mouth, okay, number of them. So what happens is, when you have some food, okay, be it chocolate or be it anything else, okay, these bacteria are going to live on that, okay. So they're going to eat whatever is left over in your mouth. So what will happen is, once you eat a chocolate, these bacteria will start eating it up, okay, and will start to grow. Now in this process of eating the chocolate particles that are there left over, your food is converted into an acid, okay. They do the process. And in general, we already know, you must have studied in the 5th standard also, that the acids destroy your tooth or teeth. So you must have seen even that Colgate advertisement, where they take the shells and put it in some chemical, and then they show you that they have spoiled, right? exactly the same. So those bacteria start creating a kind of an acid, which will just destroy a layer of your tooth for a time being. And then you are that person who doesn't stop eating chocolates. You love chocolates, and then you eat some more. Now what has happened? This chocolate particle, which was just tiny particles earlier, now there will be a lot of chocolate particles settling down because there is a small opening that has been created. That means more bacteria will come and start feeding over there. More bacteria means more acid. Okay. Till here, nothing happens to you. If you go check yourself in the mirror, if any of your tooth has just started to become black, that's the initial stage. No pain, everything works perfect. You still eat chocolates, and then what happens is you reach to this point where that the like a digging that has taken place will start reaching your jaw and gums, and more of it starts eating up, and then you'll start realizing that oh mommy that dukat ge, that kind of a situation. Okay, still you don't stop eating chocolates and you continue further. That further is going to destroy more of your tooth, and finally to a point where it is unbearable, and then you go to a dentist, and then the dentist says "To dant kadva podalo, pete zala." So this entire process is called as tooth decay. It starts very initial without pain, but ends very rarely and very painful. So control the amount of chocolates that you eat. Okay, so I hope you have understood how this entire process of tooth decay works. So it starts at a very basic initial level, and then slowly it will start deteriorating your tooth and completely destroying it, and that's when in the last stage what you can see, it starts becoming full black in color. Okay, that's the reason your parents and your relatives or siblings tell you don't eat too many chocolates. Now even if you're eating, okay, I am not promoting that you should eat them, but even if you're eating, after every chocolate that you eat, please make sure that you take a little bit of salt water and gargle it. Now what will happen if you gargle? The bacteria which is there, first of all, will die because you have taken little hot water and gargled it with salt, and it's going to clean up the entire mouth. So even if those tiny chocolate particles were there, they will be just wiped off from over your tooth. So in the process, it's going to protect your tooth and not spoil them. So I hope you have understood. Your teeth will be protected only if you do all these things and brush your teeth twice and all that. Okay. Next. The esophagus. So afterwards, just look at this video and understand what happens. So here, I'll just tell you that whenever we eat something and we breathe, right? Both the things, your trachea, the windpipe, and the food pipe are parallel to each other. Sometimes you must have noticed that whenever something happens, when you're eating, you just talk a little bit and you realize that food is gone in your windpipe, and it starts creating that suffocation. Now why it happens is because the opening that is supposed to be there, which you just noticed, the flap that opens and closes, if the timing of that opening and closing doesn't happen at the right time, these things happen. It's too complex to imagine and just get it in your mind, but just understand in a simple way. No one is going to ask you a question like how you get food enters your windpipe and stuff. So just know a basic idea that something like this happens. You must have experienced it somewhere or the other, and then someone would just tap on your neck, and then chalasma, and then drink water or something you do, right? Now, after that food that was taken in the buccal cavity, you remember, right? So from that it has gone through this food pipe, which is called as esophagus, and now the food has entered in your stomach. Okay, let us understand a few points over here. Your stomach is nothing but a, what is that? It's a thick bag. Okay, it's a thick walled bag. Now, why do you think it has to be thick? Could it not be like a plastic bag, thin? No, because you eat a lot of food, right? If that food, if your stomach was very thin, there are chances that it might just rupture and destroy your stomach. So your stomach is a thick walled bag, a heavy one, you can say. Next point which you have to remember is it is shaped like a J, flattened J. Okay, if you notice over here, you can see the style how it is, like it's like a letter J. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Next point is it is the widest part of your alimentary canal. So your digestive system, alimentary canal, it is the widest part of it. It's like your bag, right? So if it is thin, what is the point of even having it? So whatever you eat is stored in your stomach, right? So it's your widest part of your alimentary canal. Next is you need to remember that the inner lining, okay? Now what is the meaning of inner lining? If you carry a bag, the outside and the inside, okay? So the inner lining of the bag secretes mucus. Now what is this mucus? It is a kind of a chemical, you can see, which protects the inside of your stomach. Now stomach is nothing but like a bag, as I told you, and the outside and the inside, right? So this mucus protects it. Now inside this stomach of yours, there is also hydrochloric acid that is created. Now you'll say, "Ah, we acid pot." Yes, but it is not that level of harmfulness will cause like in the ones which you find it in a laboratory. But it is the same hydrochloric acid, much more diluted. Okay, but it is present. Now this diluted or this hydrochloric acid is required because, as I told you, earlier when I was talking about the tooth decay, that there is a lot of bacteria which is there. Now once this food is munched and chewed, and then it goes into your stomach, with that food this bacteria also goes into your stomach. Now they'll start growing in your stomach also, right? So for it not to grow, this hydrochloric acid, okay, here, where is it? Okay, this hydrochloric acid destroys those bacteria. Okay, the next is the digestive juices. Now whatever comes in your stomach or reaches your stomach has to be digested, right? Imagine and remember that potato which you ate, digestion takes place and then you utilize it in your body, right? So these digestive juices help in that digestion. So I hope the idea of stomach and what is the use and what are the chemicals, everything is clear with regards to this. Okay, so next, so the stomach, right, it starts with the esophagus and then the stomach and then your intestine, so small intestine. So food which moved from your buccal cavity to your esophagus to the stomach now goes into your small intestine. If you notice that I've just shown you a picture of how they will be. So next, the length of your small intestine is 7.5 meters, not just this or this. It is 7.5 meters, 7.5 meters. Can you imagine? But just because it is coiled and inside, the length is adjusted there. Okay, so the length of small intestine is 7.5 meters. Okay, next, it receives secretion from the liver and the pancreas. So your small intestine get these secretions from where? From the liver and the pancreas. Okay, now your liver is the largest but you can say a largest gland that is there present in your body. Okay, next, they and the small intestine also secrete their own secretions. Again, secretions are nothing but chemicals. Okay, secretions are nothing but chemicals which help in digestion process. Okay, so it receives secretion from the liver and pancreas and also its own secretion. So I hope you're clear with all this. Next, a liver is the largest gland, I've already told you. And what it does, your liver creates this juice or secretion called as bile juice. Where it is stored? It is stored in your gallbladder. Okay, purpose of this juice is to digest fats. Okay, it digests fats. Now whatever you eat, okay, maybe you had some samosa, that oiliness, the fat which entered into your body will be digested by a secretion, okay, called as bile juice, which is present or rather stored in your gallbladder, and it helps in digestion of fat. So I hope this is clear. And next is pancreatic juices. Pancreatic juices help in digestion of carbohydrates, which means maybe you had some bread or rice. Those kind of food items will be digested because of pancreatic juices. It also digests fats, different types of fats, okay, so and also proteins. So your pancreatic juices do this work of digesting carbs or carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Now this table over here is very important. I'll just scribble over here so that you know it is very important. Okay, now entire whatever we have discussed till now, the glands and the secretion and the purpose needs to be understood or is shown over here in this table. Please learn this. Okay, write it down, learn it, because they can be fill in the blanks, they can be name the following, any kind of question can be asked over here. So just know this entire table. So your salivary glands, okay, they create a secretion called as saliva, which helps in chewing. Now imagine this, for all those students who love having dry milk powder. Okay, if you take little of it, you can nicely chew it. But if you take a lot of milk powder and mouthful, and then it becomes difficult, right? Because it becomes entirely dry. Till you create saliva in your mouth, it will not help you to chew. So your saliva helps in chewing. Next is your stomach lining. It creates this mucus. Okay, where it okay, it creates this mucus which protects the inner lining of your stomach. Your stomach also has hydrochloric acid. In short, it can be called as HCl, hydrochloric acid. Okay, it destroys the bacteria that enters there. Your liver creates bile juice, which helps in digestion of fats. Your pancreas secretes pancreatic juices and digest carbohydrates, fats and proteins. So please learn this. It is important for you to remember. Please learn it, because if you were to get questions, then so many questions can be asked just with this one table. So rather learning kind of that rattamar, don't do that, and just learn this table. Understand it and remember it. Okay, next is something that you need to remember. Now, your different kind of juices, your body organs does some work, right, in the help of digestion. Now, they convert what you have as normal food, which contains carbohydrates, fats, proteins, okay, three of them. They convert it into a simpler form so that it can be used by the body. Our body doesn't take carbohydrates directly, it takes the converted and the simpler form. If you remember, digestion is what? It's a complex process where a complex substance is converted into a simpler substance. I hope you remember that. So the carbohydrates which you had need to be converted into something simpler, okay, and that simpler form, carbohydrates are converted into glucose, fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. Proteins are converted into amino acids. Now, these are nothing but the simpler forms are what your body will utilize. Okay, not carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Your body requires them. But all these digestion process, okay, the digestive juices and all, convert all these things, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, into something similar. So I hope you can remember this. Okay, next, this is nothing but your inner lining of your small intestine. Now, if you notice, it is not just a skin, there is a kind of, what to say, finger like structure, I can say, which help in absorption of this nutrient. So there's something called as absorption and there's something called as assimilation. So let me explain both these terms. When I say absorption, okay, food entered into your body through buccal cavity, esophagus, reached your stomach, digestion has taken place, it goes into your intestine, further digestion has taken place, and finally in your small intestine, this carbohydrates, okay, which was the potato which you had, now has been converted into glucose. Okay, this glucose will be absorbed by these finger like structure. They are nothing but called as villi. Okay, remember it, one is called as villus, many are called as villi. I'm not teaching you singular and plural, but remember that villi are multiple of them, villus is just one. So what do they do? Whatever food was digested, right, they absorb it into the bloodstream. So each of these finger like structure have tiny blood vessels connected to it. So the moment this digested food reaches there, the villi absorbs the digestive part. Okay, so the digestive juices are absorbed inside. That process is called as absorption, absorbing it. Okay, when I'm teaching, you're watching this video and gaining that information is called as absorption. Okay, you're absorbing all this information. Once you have absorbed it, and tomorrow if someone asks you a question and you are able to answer based on this, that is called as assimilation. So your body absorbs, or the villi absorbs all the digestive juices, and when these absorbed digestive juices are processed by different organs for it to grow, that will be called as assimilation. Okay, then after all the digestion has taken place, part of it which is not digested, right, so you can imagine I have a sieve, right, and I put something to fan, okay, put something to strain, part of it, right, if you can imagine tea, so the tea powder remains on top, right, it is not the sieve part, that kind of a substance, okay, which will go into the large intestine. I hope you're clear. You had potatoes, they were munched, went into your esophagus, then your stomach, digestion has taken place, part of the carbohydrate which converted into glucose is taken in by the villi, and now some of the substance of the potato has gone into your large intestine. Now, In this large intestine, your the length of it, first of all, is 1.5 meters. Small intestine, length was 7.5 meters. Large intestine, just 1.5 meters. Okay, now, what is the purpose of having large intestine? They absorb all the water and salt from the undigested food. So, the food which was transferred into your large intestine from the small intestine, okay, from that waste food, okay, the water and salt has been absorbed. Okay, then that undigested food, now water is absorbed, salt is absorbed, whatever is undigested is stored in the rectum. Okay, rectum is nothing but a kind of a container, you can say, in your body, which just holds the waste food. Okay, and once it is full to a level, then it will be thrown out through your anus. That's when you get that feeling of I need to go in the washroom or go in the toilet and release the waste. So food which was entering in your buccal cavity has now been thrown out to your anus, which was waste. Okay, what was that word that you need to remember, boss? LRA. Okay, buccal cavity, esophagus, small intestine, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. Please pause this video and read about diarrhea. I'm not going to explain it to you. You can just read it and try and understand. It's even there on your textbook. All right, so let us just revise whatever we have studied in this video. We spoke about the buccal cavity. It starts with your mouth. There are different kind of teeth there, and there are incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Taking that food from outside world into your mouth is called as ingestion. Incisors are nothing but like scissors to cut. Canines are something to pierce. Premolars and molars are like grinders which will grind your food. Then we learned about tooth decay, how a normal proper tooth is decayed. Then we saw how food is, sometimes accidentally goes into your windpipe. Then we learned about stomach, that it's a thick walled bag. It is shaped like a J, widest part of the alimentary canal. Then the inner lining secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices. We studied about that the mucus protects the inner lining, hydrochloric acid destroys the bacteria, digestive juices helps in digestion. Then food is transferred to your small intestine. Okay, length is 7.5 meters long. It receives secretion from the liver and pancreas. It also creates its own secretion. Liver is the largest gland and it secretes bile juice which are stored in your gallbladder, okay, and digests fats. Pancreatic juices digest carbs, fats, and proteins. Table is important, please learn it. Food that is in a form nutrients are converted into a simpler form and then it is absorbed by villi. It is called as absorption. When it is utilized by different organs of your body, it is called as assimilation. Then the food is sent into your large intestine. Okay, it is 1.5 meters long. It absorbs water and salt from the undigested food. The undigested food is then sent into the rectum where it is stored and then it is thrown out through anus. So I hope you are clear with this entire content. If you did like this video, then don't forget to give it a like. Please share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed, then please do that. Till then, take care and God bless you. Bye-bye.